My grandma had 15 kids. My grandma had 12 kids. My grandma had 9 kids. My grandma had 10 kids. Did she want them? Did your grandma want 16 kids? Better question. How old was she when she started having kids? How old was grandpa? Huh? Huh, okay. That's what I thought. And some of y'all will watch that video and be like, who cares? Who cares? She can have as many kids as she wants. No matter how many kids she has, doesn't mean you can't be a good parent. You cannot be a good parent with 12 children. Look at the 2 oldest children's face. What does that tell you? They're sick and tired of her being pregnant. If you're constantly in a state of pregnancy or postpartum, look at the babies on her lap. Look at the babies on her lap.
You will never convince me that having 12 kids is not neglectful. The fact that every single one of your 11 kids reacted the same way to you announcing that you're pregnant with yet another one, especially the oldest. Because you know why? I'll tell you why. She's the one watching all of them. There's no way in hell you're meeting the emotional needs of all 11 children that you already have, and you have another one on the way.
Look, I do not care how it looks on Instagram. I do not care how it looks on TikTok. And I don't care how blessed people think it is. There's a dark side to these massive families going viral. And nobody's going to talk about it, so I will. It's not just the matching outfit. It's not just the choreographed Bible verses. It's the emotional neglect disguised as tradition. There are kids being raised by their siblings, not their parent, while the mom is stretched too thin to even notice who's hurting and who's not. Look, I come from a family of 8. Every single one of us got our own story about what we needed and what we didn't get, what we got but didn't need, about all the affection we had to fight for. My name is Chemo, and today I want to talk to you about some of the truths of all these big families that we see going viral today with 10 kids, 12 kids, 15 kids, 24 kids. I come from a big family, so you cannot tell me I don't understand. What you're watching online is not inspiring. It's concerning. 12 kids lined up, singing in sync like a choir of trained soldiers. That's not joy. That's pressure. That's performance. First off, I do want to say I'm addressing this, but my parents did not put us online. My parents did not put us through nothing like that. But we did have our ups and downs. And I'm grateful for my parents. 100%. I don't know how they did it. They raised all their kids by themselves without no support. And they protected us from the world. And regardless what everybody said, they still together up till today. But let's get back to it. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of kids, but when you're doing it for likes, clicks, and making them a brand, that's a problem. Because it's no longer parenting, it's conditioning. Kids are not content. You cannot tell me I love all my kids equally. One person, one mother cannot emotionally nurture 12 human beings by yourself. You just can't. And regardless whatever support system you have, at the end of the day, that child wants their mother.
There's a quiet crisis happening in homes that many people don't want to talk about. It's not on the evening news. It's not trending on Twitter. It's tucked away in online videos where smiling families show off life with 8, 10, or even 12 children. But beneath the surface of these seemingly wholesome clips lies something deeply troubling. Not just a lifestyle choice, but a systemic pattern of emotional neglect, underdevelopment, and cultural dysfunction. And it's time we talk about it. I'm not here to shame people for having large families. That's not what this is about. This is about asking a serious and necessary question. When does a family size stop being a blessing and start becoming a burden? Not for the parents, for the children. Because what's being romanticized online is often far from healthy. What's being celebrated as different or faithful or natural is in many cases a carefully filtered image of chaos. And the people caught in the middle of that chaos are children who are being forced to carry adult responsibilities, process adult emotions, and survive adult neglect, all before they've had a chance to become fully formed human beings. Let's start with the most obvious impact: emotional deprivation. In these oversized households, affection becomes a resource, not an infinite one, a finite one. Because no matter how loving a parent may be, there are 24 hours in a day, and when that time has to be split between 10 or 12 kids, the result is predictable. Children get missed. Some get overlooked, some become invisible, and that invisibility comes at a high price. What a child craves most isn't food or clothing, it's attention, it's validation, it's connection. And when that connection is thin or inconsistent, a child learns self-soothe in dangerous ways. They learn to hide their pain, they learn to suppress their needs, they learn to stay quiet even when they're hurting, because there's simply no time or space for their voice. We see this especially with the older siblings, particularly the girls. In many of these families, they are expected to become secondary mothers. They cook, they clean, they change diapers, they supervise younger siblings while the parents are busy with newborns. And this isn't just an occasional task. It's a way of life. It's a role they didn't choose but were born into. That's not helping. That's not teaching responsibility. That's parentification. That's emotional labor being extracted from a child who should still be playing, dreaming, and developing a sense of self.
You know, I really hate to be the bearer of bad news, but your sister is in fact not an amazing mother. Is that to say that your sister does not love her children and would do anything for her children? That is not what I am saying. But what I am saying is raising children is hard. Your sister does not need farm hands. Your sister does not need 9 children. Raising one child is hard and takes a lot of time and attention. A lot of time and attention. And the more children you have, the less time and attention you have to give to each individual child. And I don't care how many family activities y'all plan together. And especially every time your sister pops out a brand new baby, that baby requires like 12 hours of an undivided attention from an adult to keep it alive. So if I don't know what your sister's husband does or doesn't do, but even if it's split down the middle, that's 6 hours from one parent, 6 hours from the next parent that's dedicated to this new child. And y'all just keep bringing a new child that requires a whole bunch of attention, So guess what? The older kids, the other kids, things are going to start to slip through the cracks. And even when all the kids are older, you can't manage everything. You can't be everywhere. If they're all in a sport, if they all got a recital, they got a graduation, they got an award ceremony, guess what? At the end of the year, every child, no matter the grade level, got something going on, whether it's graduation, award ceremony. And guess what? They all tend to fall on the same day. And you're probably gonna be like, my sister homeschools. I hate to break it to y'all. A lot of y'all that are homeschooling your children are not at the educational level to be homeschooling y'all. I'm sorry. Does your sister love her children? Probably. But she wanted a bunch of children more than she wanted to be a parent. Because someone that actually wants to be a parent, you can be a really great fuck to 2 to 3, 4 kids. But nine was a selfish need that she needed to fulfill. It was something in her that she wanted to fulfill more than, because it's like, if you have all this attention, if you have all this energy, if you have all this love, why not give it to the children that's already here, that I guarantee is missing something? Because you cannot catch everything when you have 9 people that need your attention. It's impossible. And I hate when y'all try to gaslight us like we all don't have the same 24 hours in a day. We all have jobs. We don't all have kids. And actually, we don't all have jobs. But we all have the same 24 hours. So I can count. I can do the maths. I got 2 kids and a job and a side hustle. You're dropping the ball somewhere.
And then there's the medical side, something even more alarming. Many of these families reject traditional healthcare. They avoid doctors. They don't vaccinate. They opt out of prenatal care. They pray over infections and broken bones. They use herbal remedies where antibiotics are needed. They fast while pregnant. They treat childbirth as a test of faith instead of a medical event that requires safety protocols. This isn't alternative, it's neglect. A child breaks an arm, no ER, just a prayer circle. A mother bleeds out during labor but won't go to a hospital because God will provide. This isn't health freedom, this is endangerment. And the worst part, the children have no say. They don't get to choose whether they are vaccinated. They don't get to choose whether they are seen by a doctor, what options exist, because they've been taught from birth that anything outside the home is evil, worldly, or dangerous. So now we are raising children who are emotionally undernourished, academically behind, and medically vulnerable, and we are calling it love. But it doesn't stop there, because today many of these families have turned their lifestyle into content. These kids are not just growing up in chaos, they are being filmed in it. Every moment is content. Wake ups, chaos, discipline, homeschooling, even breakups. And millions of people are watching. Children who have no legal protections as performers are being used to generate income for their families through brand deals, YouTube ads, sponsorship, and viral attention. And we pretend that's okay because it's cute, because it's real, because it's authentic. It's not authentic, it's exploitation. Kids who don't know any better are being made into mini influencers. Their childhood are being sold to highest bidder, their privacy stripped, their mistakes uploaded, their development broadcasted. So now it's not just neglect, it's public neglect, monetized and normalized. We have to start asking who benefits from this. The parents get validation, they get applause, they get paid, but the kids get an audience but not an advocate. And when these kids grow up and start questioning what they lived through, the backlash is swift. You are being ungrateful. You are loved. We did our best. But love is not enough if it comes wrapped in control, surveillance, and underdevelopment. And here's what we need to face. This isn't just a fringe issue. You see it in certain religious communities. You see it in some rural families. You see it in immigrant households. You even see it in parts of the Black community, where generational trauma has romanticized struggle, overwork, and sacrifice as a sign of virtue. How many of us grew up with too many siblings, too fewer resources, and a parent who believed discipline was the same as love? How many of us were told that complaining made us weak, that wanting more made us selfish, that needing attention made us rebellious? We have to unlearn that, because children aren't burdens, but they are responsibilities. And bringing a life into this world is not just a blessing, it's a contract. A contract to nature, to educate, to protect, to prepare. And if you're not meeting that contract because of ideology, burnout, selfishness, or stubbornness, then you're not doing your job as a parent.
My mom had 4 kids. I was the oldest. And being the oldest to 3 other siblings, that felt like a lot sometimes. I can't imagine being the oldest to 11 kids. 11 kids? When I saw that young girl's reaction, the oldest daughter to the Collins announcing that they're pregnant with their 12th, I just know for a fact that girl, she has a game plan. Once she turns 18, she is out of there. Out of there. Because her reaction just told me that she's way more involved with raising these kids than the average oldest child. Heck, just the video after that, the couple, the Collins, they went on an anniversary date. They went out all day. And I'm like, was she at home? Was the oldest at home taking care of these kids? And don't get me wrong, being the oldest, you're kind of ingrained in that role of helping your siblings out. That's just the norm. But 11 of them, baby. I didn't sign up for this. That's crazy. Like, I watch these families, these large families on here, which they're popping up like sprouts. They're popping up. And obviously, it makes sense, because how else are you going to pay for these kids in this economy? There's an audience out there who obviously likes to watch them, so why not join, right? But damn, I just sitting back thinking about being the oldest to that many. Oh my gosh, that is so selfish. Why do you need that many kids? Yeah, it was done back in the day, In today's time, I don't see the point. I don't see it at all. Like, there's no way you can actually parent that many kids and give that many kids the love and the attention they need, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, if you come from a family of like 6 or more, let me know. But I can't imagine, like, the things I go through just from what I went through as being the oldest of 3 others. Being the oldest of 11, that is, whew, I can't imagine. Oh, that poor girl.
I say this with no malice, but with absolute clarity. If you cannot give each child emotional attention, educational support, Medicare, and individual development they deserve, then you should not keep having more children. Love is not just about what you feel, it's about what you provide. A child who is rarely hugged is not fine. A child who is barely literate is not quirky. A child who has never been to the doctor is not natural. A child who never hears, I see you, I hear you, you matter, is not being raised. They are being managed. And there is a difference. There's a cost to excessive childbearing. It's paid in silent resentment. It's paid when that 12-year-old girl holding her baby brother looks at the camera and forces a smile, knowing no one will ask her how she really feels. She doesn't need a sibling. She needs a childhood. We need to stop clapping for chaos. Stop praising faith that neglects. Stop mistaking quantity for quality, because real love isn't about how many children you have. It's about how well you raise them. Guys, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Tell me if you agree with me or if you disagree. Also remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.